All right, hey everyone, welcome to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, Wagner's Lanes for the Chippewa Valley Match Games. I'm Andrew Pfeffer, and right now we are in the position round of match play. So we haven't quite arrived at the stepladder just yet. Right now, you've got two pairs in your field of view. On lanes 1 and 2, John Cryer Jr., who just collapsed the 6-8 for a strike there. He is the top seed going into this last game of match play. Also, Will Mafferty is on this pair, David Langer, and Brent Newman rounding out the top 4 right now. On 3 and 4, we've got Ryan Savoy, Chris Hill, Chad Nelson, and Andy Mills. After this last game of match play is over, we'll probably take a short break while everything gets sorted out, and we'll get ready for that stepladder final here at the Chippewa Valley Match Games.
People are calling for the lime green.
Pat told me. Senior carry. Senior carry. You're just warming up for it. Yeah, no, I don't have to back her down when I go to that class. Yeah, one more year. After. So I'll be watching you in the final. USBC Senior Masters next year. No, I'm going to be involved in the company.
Again, thanks for joining us on the live stream of the position round match play at the Chippewa Valley Match Games. You're looking at the top 8 seeds going into that final game. Right now, the leader up on lane 2, John Cryer Jr. He's joined by Will Mafferty, Brent Newman, and David Langer. On lanes 3 and 4, Chris Hill, Ryan Savoy, Andy Mills, and Chad Nelson. Also want to mention that we have some great sponsors at this event: Chilson Motors, Storm, and of course Wagner's Lanes, where the event has been held all weekend and really dating back since the late 1950s.
I know, man.
All right, so as we get into the 10th frame of this position round game, Chris Hill coming up on lane 4. He's got a fill ball to go. He can strike for 248. Tripped out 4 to get that done. Savoy just avoided chopping that 3-6. He can strike on his fill ball for 195. Eight count on that fill ball is going to put him at 193. And now we'll get Nelson and Mills finishing out their games on 3 and 4. Nelson can punch out for 258. Mills can punch out for 279. Meanwhile, the defending champion, John Cryer Jr., heading up on lane 2 for his 10th frame. If he can go off the sheet, he can finish out with 258.
There was a couple times where I was standing there,
Oh. 10 pin's going to stand for him. Mafferty went a little light. He's still got a chance at 207 if he can pick this up and strike. Meanwhile, Mills, that's a solid 9, high pocket hit. And Mills covers up that 9 pin. You can strike on the fill for 258, while Nelson has 247 up there. If he can strike on his fill ball. Cryer Jr. with a strike on his fill ball would equal that, and he cures it. Mafferty has his strike for 207. And Mills goes 467 on the fill ball. He'll end up with 255. Now we've got Brent Newman up on lane 2. He had been leading the match play early. He ends up with a light pocket 7 pin. He'll go after in hopes of picking that up and striking on the fill for 196. On lane 1, Wagner. A nice strike there to make it 4 in a row. He's still got 227 up there if he can throw 2 more. Newman covers his spare. So Newman's last shot goes light for the bucket, and he'll end up at 192. As Langer finishes up with his fill ball. And goes high for a 7 count. He'll end up at 224. So that'll do it for our position round coverage here. as tournament director Jenny Burkhart leading the crowd in a round of applause for the bowlers. We're going to take a short break here, and when we come back, we will have match 1 of our stepladder final. Hey everyone, welcome to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, Wagner's Lanes. I'm Andrew Pfeffer. We're just about to get started here with the Stepladder finals for the Chippewa Valley Match Games. We have had a great weekend of bowling so far, and let's talk a little bit about the tournament and kind of how we got to where we are right now. So the tournament actually started on Saturday. We had 85 entries here between two squads on Saturday. So a big day of bowling all day.
Seconds left. Rob might be taking a mulligan game one.
Junior right on his heels for most of that time. He had back-to-back 267s in game 4 and 5, and he is the 1 seed going into the Stepladder finals. Let me show you the prize breakdown that these bowlers are competing for right now. First place is going to get $1,500. Second place is going to get $800. Third place, $700. Fourth place, $500, and fifth place, $450. So plenty at stake here as we start out our Stepladder finals in just a moment. Our first match is going to pit Brent Newman against Chris Hill, and they're going to be getting started in just a moment. We will come back for that as soon as they are ready to fire it up. Again, you're watching the Chippewa Valley Match Games Stepladder finals here from Wagner's Lanes in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. All right, everyone, we are underway in match 1 of the Stepladder Finals here at the Chippewa Valley Match Games. Eau Claire, Wisconsin, Wagner's Lanes. We've got Chris Hill leaving a 10-pin on his first shot. He'll try and tackle that. And he does. Now here comes Brent Newman, our early leader, who dropped a few spots over the course of the day, but is here in match number 1. And he leaves a 10 with a 7 along with it. And he tugs it a little left, goes between them. He'll try and hit a strike on lane 1 to make up for that. Newman from Maple Grove, Minnesota, which is a suburb of Minneapolis, if you're not familiar. And Hill is out of Waukesha. Went through the beak there, and we'll try and run down 6, 9, 10. And has no problem with that. Both players really going at it from that deep inside line, and Hill having some early success. And carries the high hit for a double. And Newman through the face for 3, 4, 6 combination. The 3 seed in this is Will Matafee, and he will face the winner between Newman and Hill. Newman down about 46, but that strike will help. And we'll take another look at Chris Hill trying to work on a double here. That shot went a little high. He'll be left with a 610. And no problem with that spare. Be up by about 24 going into the 5th frame on lane 1. And splashes the bucket to maintain his lead. Those of you just joining us, we are in match 1 in the Stepladder finals of the Chippewa Valley Match Games. Match between Brent Newman and Chris Hill. Newman getting a touch deeper, started in front of the ball return that time, but ends up with a pocket 710 for his troubles. And lane 2 continues to be kind of a thorn in his side so far. 3 consecutive splits on that lane now. And we're halfway through the match now, and it's all Chris Hill so far. Newman's going to have to pile up some strikes in a hurry if he wants to make a match out of this, and hope that Chris Hill falters a little bit. Buries that one to get back in it. It was starting just a touch right of where Newman was on that lane. Slaps out the 10 for a double. Keeps growing that lead. Chippewa Valley Match Games sponsored by Chilson Motors in Eau Claire, Storm Bowling, and Wagner's lanes. And gets the left side to drop there and continue his striking ways. You might hear some sounds of pinfall off screen. That's Will Matafee bowling down on 9 and 10, doing some practice bowling, along with some open bowlers down on the high end of the house that they have going on right now. And Newman ends up with yet another split on lane 2, a 4-6-7-10. Unfortunately for Newman, this one kind of went sideways in a hurry on him on lane 2. At this point, if he punches out, he's looking at 178. Hill pretty much needs to stay behind the line, get some decent count on these next few shots, and in all likelihood, he'll be moving on. So joining Matafee on the practice pair right now is Dave Langer. Langer is one of 2 previous champions in our stepladder today. Langer won this event in 2013, 2014, and 2017, while John Cryer Jr., our 1 seed, is the defending champion from the 2021 event. And Hill buries another strike on lane 2. And that will just about do it here.
He did say that he needed to.
Ring 10 for Hill on lane 1. But this one is pretty much in the bag despite that. He'll move on to face Will Matafee in match 2. And we will be moving pairs as we make our way through the stepladder. So game 1 on lanes 1 and 2. Game 2, or match 2, I should say, on lanes 3 and 4. Match 2, lanes 3 and 4. The semifinal on 5 and 6, and our championship pair today will be lanes 7 and 8. So we'll take some short breaks in between to get ourselves resituated as we make the moves to each different pair. Newman with a, I guess you could call that a little sarcastic celebration after finally hitting a flush strike on lane 2. and does the same on 1. Likely wishes he could have some of those shots on lane 2 back, but $450 should ease the pain somewhat. And that's what he'll go back to Minnesota with after a 5th place finish here at the Chippewa Valley Match Games.
Good ball choice.
And a nice finish with 4 in a row for 168 for Brent Newman. Again, $450 for a 5th place finish. As he some high fives on his way out. And Hill finishing on lane 2, much like he has the rest of this game, by burying a flush strike. If he adds 2 more to that, he'll be up in the 240s. Ooh. High flush 7-pin. That'll still give him 237 if he runs down that spare. And he does. 237 to 168. Chris Hill is going to take that match. And we'll move on to lanes 3 and 4, where he will face the 3 seed, Will Matafee. And we'll bring you that match and more in just a moment here. Again, you're watching the Stepladder finals of the Chippewa Valley Match Games live from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. We'll be right back. And we are back. Heading on to match 2 of the Chippewa Valley Match Games Stepladder final, which will hit Chris Hill from Waukesha up against our 3 seed, Will Matafee. And they're going to jump in with a couple minutes of practice here before they get started. Again, our prize breakdown today. Brent Newman, our 5th place finisher, is going to go home with $450. Whoever is left in the dust here in match 2 will end up with $500. 3rd place is worth $700. 2nd place, $800. And our champion today will walk home with $1,500. Again, big thanks to our sponsors, Chilson Motors of Eau Claire, Storm Bowling, and Wagner's Lanes, which is the site of our tournament this weekend. So Matafee, as we had mentioned early on, opened things up on a high note with a 300 in game 1 of qualifying on Saturday. And here he is, our 3 seed. And with a handshake, we are up and running in match number 2. Hill coming off a nice 237 to win match 1 against Brett Newman's 168. We'll start things off on lane 3. Into the 5th arrow on that first shot, and he's going to leave a flat 10. Takes care of that with no problem. Matafee, another bowler from the Twin Cities area in Minnesota. He is a pro shop operations manager at Sunray Lanes, which is in the eastern suburbs of St. Paul, Minnesota. Comes up high, and his first shot ends up with a 6-7 split to deal with.
Here comes your.
All right. And we've got a guest in our broadcast booth right now, Brent Newman, who just ended up finishing his day. Sorry about all the cords and stuff we've got going on here, Brent. Hold on 1 second here. Just got to get that mic going. Give it a try right now. Test. Give it another minute here. Maybe. There we go. How about that?
Good. Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
All right.
Yeah. As we watch Will Matafee go high again for a 6-10. Brent, congratulations on a great tournament, great weekend here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tell me about, what happened out there, first of all.
Well, it was conditions are a little softer this weekend than they normally are, and had a big run yesterday. Had 800 in the middle there to get to 238 over to get to today, and I bowled extremely well for the first 75% of the day, and the last 3-4 games kind of just lost it. And I didn't make the right ball choices, and I missed a couple key spares here in the last couple games, and that kind of did it. I made a guess here at the end what ball I was going to use because that pair was on fire, and I think I made the wrong choice, obviously. I went with the ball that I wanted to throw, or should have thrown, obviously, the end there, and it looked really good.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes sometimes. I picked a ball that I'm super comfortable with, and it was the wrong choice.
Sure.
I bowled well. Chris bowled well. All these guys bowled really well all weekend, so
yeah.
As
we see Chris take an early lead over Will Matafee after hitting that strike on lane 4, he'll be up on lane 3 again. We had a comment from Bowling Medina who said that you did a nice job, but the damn splits will get you every time.
Yep. Yeah, that was I got unlucky once, maybe twice on the right lane. I thought I threw the ball good. Just didn't work out in my favor. But that's the way it goes. That's bowling.
Sure.
Throw it good and not get results. All you can do is execute. If you get a break, you got to take advantage of it.
For sure. How about, I guess, what does this tournament mean to you? I mean, for us, here in the Chippewa Valley, this is basically our biggest tournament that we see in this area as far as scratch bowling is concerned all year. How big a deal is it for you folks in the Twin Cities?
This is a must bowl. If you're a bowler in Minnesota that's any bit competitive, this is a must bowl. I mean, this is on the calendar every year, and unless something crazy happens, we don't miss this. It's big to you guys, and it's big to us. And you get the best bowlers around in the area out here bowling, competing. And what more could you ask for?
Yeah.
Prize fund's good. Management's good. The tournament director does a good job. It's a very well run event. And in our opinions, you can't miss it.
I assume we'll see you again next year?
Oh, absolutely.
Sounds good. Brent Newman, and you are in Maple Grove, Minnesota?
Yep, Maple Grove.
Maple Grove, and you do some work at Medina Lanes?
Yep, I wear a lot of hats at Medina Entertainment Center. Started in the bowling center, opened the pro shop. Do a lot of management stuff like that these days.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a little ways from home, but it's well worth the drive, and it's always a fun weekend. It's our favorite weekend of the year. So
yeah, especially when you can finish top 5, which you did. Again, Congratulations on a great weekend of bowling.
Appreciate it.
And hope to see you again next year.
We'll be here.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
You betcha. Brent Newman. There he goes as we continue on with match number 2. Will Matafee dealing with a 3-9 combination right now. So, a few sticks behind Chris Hill. And takes care of that spare. And our thanks to Brent Newman for having a little chat with us as we watch match number 2 between Will Matafee and Chris Hill. Hill up on lane 4 and a little light, leaving a 2-5. He'll try to take care of that and maintain his 9-pin lead in the early going. Oh, chop that 2-pin off with a plastic spare ball, and that hurts. That basically gives Matafee the lead sitting on the bench. And crushes a strike on lane 3. Now Matafee will try and answer with a strike of his own on lane 4. Little light there on 4. He'll leave a 2-pin. Will recently was a guest on another live stream show podcast called 10-Pin Life, where he talked about being in the industry, working in the pro shop, his beginnings in the sport of bowling in college. It's a pretty good listen. I'd recommend it if you have a chance to check it out. 10-Pin Life, which is a live stream and podcast that is put on by Ben Glasscock of the Wausau area. He was a competitor here this weekend as well. He, along with many others, call him Wild Bill. And he'll have a 7-pin to deal with in his 6th frame. And another spare for him. Comes up a little high, leaves a 4-pin. Off to our right on the practice pair is our 2-seed, Dave Langer. Oh, and Hill flags that 4-pin to the left. And now it's Matafee taking the lead in the match. Shoots that one past the break point, leaving him with a washout, 1-2-4-10. May need a little score correction there as it registered 5, but it may take care of itself if he gets count here. Almost made it. Pushed that head pin just to the left of the 10. Now, Matafee with a strike would be up 12.
Not like
Probably even more than 12.
I do. I mean, at least as long as it has a little treasure trail. I got a big treasure trail. That's why she loves it.
And kicks out that 4-pin on a high hit.
I mean, that's good. I mean, I think of Jason PBC, so I wanted at least. Feel it.
And if he slaps out that 10-pin for another strike, giving him a double up and a commanding lead now. Up about 33. Beautiful strike for Hill. Giving him 104 in the 7th, the strike up in the 8th. He can punch out for 194. Matafee can go spare, strike, spare. And he'd be in the 190s. Nope. Through the face and a 4-6-10 waiting for him. 4-6-7, excuse me. Take 2. Now he's looking at 162 if he strikes out. And Matafee has a big lead going heading into the 9th frame. If you're just joining us, we are in match number 2 of the Stepladder finals of the Chippewa Valley Match Games, where Will Matafee just ended up with an 8-10 on a pocket hit. And he's got one of the 2. And that'll just about do it. Yep. Will Matafee's going to be moving on here. He will take on our 2 seed, Dave Langer. Again, past champion in this event. Won it 3 times in years past here. Matafee slaps out the 10 for another strike. And another flush strike for Matafee. He'll be in the 190s. Hill at this point just getting out of the way. And he'll finish out with 193. Hill will finish out his 10th frame. He'll go home with $500 today. And Matafee will move on to face Dave Langer. And strike 9 spare will give him 152. And that'll be all for Chris Hill at this year's tournament. But Will Matafee moving on to our semifinal match on lanes 5 and 6 against Dave Langer. We'll be right back with that, as we're going to have to move over and get a little better vantage point. But we will be back. Semifinal match here at the Chippewa Valley Match Games in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. All right, and we are back. Just moving our angle a little bit here, but while we were away, Dave Wagner picked up a 9-pin on lane 5 in his first frame rather, and Matafee just left a half pocket 7 that he'll go after. This is the semifinal match of the Stepladder finals at the Chippewa Valley Match Games in Eau Claire, Wisconsin at Wagner's Lanes. And Matafee takes care of the 7, so we're all even after one frame. Matafee taking that deep inside path to the pocket, and he crushes it. So Langer from Champlin, Minnesota, another Twin Cities suburb, has won this event 3 different times in the past several years. Light pocket shaker gets the 7 out, and we are tied once again. So Langer's first title in this event was in the 2013 Chippewa Valley Match Games. He defended his title successfully, won it again in 2014, and then for a third time in 2017. Splashes another light hit, and really for 7 years there, between 2011 and 2017, the only bowlers to win the Chippewa Valley Match Games were Chad Nelson and Dave Wagner, who is competing in this semifinal match right now. So he's had plenty of success here, and taking aim at another title. Matafee right through the nose and a 4-6. He'll take one and have to work his way out of an early hole in this semifinal match. Matafee hits a strike on lane 5. And now it's Langer. Tugged that one a bit. Left a 3-6. Again, both players playing that deep inside line, as we saw a lot of guys doing as this tournament wore on. 1 seed and defending champion John Cryer Jr. practicing off to our right on lanes 9 and 10. As Langer takes care of the 3-6. Langer definitely started out match play hot this morning with a 279 in game 1. And was pretty steady throughout. A couple little hiccups in the middle going, but he's here in our second seed and splashing a strike there. To go up 10. Buries that shot for double. Cryer Jr., who is the top seed, is the lone lefty in the Stepladder finals today. And Matafee, who is up now on lane 5, is the only remaining player who hasn't won here yet. That one went up high, and he's going to have to deal with a big 4. And just takes 1. And that's coming on a double, so he'll have 98 in the 6th. And Langer's lead grows with that 6-1 fill in the 6th frame. A little bit high and leaves a 4-pin. And covers that up. Give him 108 in the 5th. So with a strike up here in the 6th, his lead will grow to 30. Five pin shaken, but not going to fall. And he takes care of that. Matafee started out his day today in match play, 239, 233. Pretty steady throughout. A couple 240s in the middle, 236 and a 207 to get himself here. Brings it back from the outside, snaps out that 10. And he'll need to continue striking if he wants to catch Langer. And flushes another one. So he's not going down without a fight. And Langer's still with a lead. And hey, there's Will Welch chiming in. Happy New Year to you too, Will. Glad you're checking out our live stream today of the Chippewa Valley Match Games here in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And this time Langer with a 5-7 on a light hit. And gets one off. So that'll leave him with 154 in the 8th. Natafee with a 98 in the 6th and a double up. And we've got ourselves a 4-pin game right now. Little light for a 2-5. And Natafee will get up in the 9th and 10th with a chance to lock this one up. Langer covers his spare. He can max out at 204 if he punches out in the 10th. Natafee's still got a shot at 218 if he strikes out. Looks like he got it a little right and ends up with a 5-8. He's got a spare and 3 in the 10th. He'll have 196. Langer can strike out for 204. Gets his spare, and now the 10th. Half pocket 10. And with a spare, good count, he'll be in the 180s. Basically a mark is what Langer's going to need to move on. All over that 10 pin, and we'll see what he does with this fill ball. Again, our third place finisher today is going to walk away with $700, $800 for second place, and our champion will end up with $1,500. And if he hits his strike in the fill for a 185. And Langer now at 154 in the eighth and a spare up. Basically needs a strike or a spare. And that would do it. Oh, tripped out the 4-9. And that is going to be the difference, assuming he stays behind the line, gets a couple pins, and he is moving on. He'll have 2 shots to do it. Pretty good break at an opportune time. Sometimes you need that, you know. So our 2 seed, Dave Langer, is going to be moving on to our championship match. We're going to have a 1 versus 2 to decide the 2022 Chippewa Valley Match Games coming up in a moment here. Matafee's going to go home with $700. And it will be Dave Langer against John Cryer Jr. to decide our champion. That match will happen in just a moment. Our championship match on lanes 7 and 8 coming up at the Chippewa Valley Match Games in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. We'll be right back. Chords, and yeah. Let's see. Ugh. As long as
I'm glad I grabbed that.
yeah, as long as I don't fall over. You got it? All right. Let's see if we can just drag this over. All right, and we're back here with our championship match between Dave Langer and John Cryer Jr. Again, both these gentlemen have won this tournament in the past, Langer 3 times and Cryer just last year. He's our defending champion and our 1 seed. Pace the field and match play. Cryer, the lone lefty in our field, in our stepladder field, starts out with a solid strike.
Oh, he's no good.
Now Langer up on lane 8 after surviving a tough match with Will Matafee. Splashes out the 7 and equals Cryer, and we are tied through 1. Langer won that last match 203-185 over Will Matafee. He'll go home with $700 for his 3rd place finish. Crushes a strike on lane 7. And has a seat.
I've been doing this.
Cryer's from Mounds View, another suburb of the Twin Cities, Minnesota. So we've got 2 Minnesotans facing off in our championship match today.
The best thing to do to make it work is you leave a solid 10 pin, you can preserve it until it falls. According to him.
Up through the face and up to 410.
That's the neat thing about being a tournament director. And I don't want to. We have, you know, Jeff Riddle? All right. I have the article in President Conference. He said, by the way, he said that, sorry, Rich, but I got to say this. If you want to find a nice, well-run tournament, probably the best one in the Midwest, you talk about Rich
Gives it a go, almost bounces out the back, ends up in the left or right channel, and he'll be down early. Another big thank you to our sponsors for this event, Chilson Motors of Eau Claire, Storm Bowling, and Wagner's Lanes, which is where we are right now in our championship match, the 2022 Chippewa Valley Match Games. High flush pocket 8 or pocket 9.
You won one of the sweepers. Oh, well, you know Matt Meyer? Okay, Matt won the other sweeper. That was one of those checks that when I got done, you know, I wrote a nice big check and deposited it.
Take care of that 9 pin. Early lead for Dave Langer as he heads up for His shot in the third frame. Good to see Scott Bentley watching us on the stream. Says he didn't see that one coming. I'm guessing he's referring to the semifinal match and how that turned out. Langer wraps the 6 around the 10. Gets tougher and tougher as you migrate left to kick out those 10 pins. And as we've seen today, these players on the right side have just been really, really deep, especially as the tournament's worn on. Late in match play and into this stepladder final, where we've seen guys playing in around 4th, 5th arrow, try and climb that hill back up to the 1-3 pocket. Oh, Scott was talking about the Stone 9 as well. Yeah. Oh, just like that, he trips a 4, and good break at a good time for Dave Langer. Hey, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it, buddy. Glad you tuned in, and yeah, I'm glad we're doing this too. With Denny's blessing, maybe we'll do this in future years too. Oh, and this time an 8 pin. It's tough to even fathom with all that speed and all that turn. To have those kind of breaks at this point in the match, in the tournament. Takes care of that 8 pin, and on we go to the 5th. And now he'll need to climb out of a 30-plus pin hole over the next 6 frames. And we've got Presage Ryder saying, "You got this, Dad." A little shrug to say, well, and that time they all fall. Now Langer up on lane 8 in his 5th frame. Hoping for another X to turn the screws a little bit tighter. Got it to go. Those light hits have been working pretty well for him over the course of these last 2 matches. Buries another one inside that fifth arrow. He's rolling. Now Cryer Jr. with some work to do, and he's going to need a little help.
I had one time I remember Gary Bond taking
Gets his strike on 8. But he's got some work to do. Down about 32. Imploring that ball to go, and it does. So now Langer in the 7th, working on a 3-bagger. Each of these guys has struck in their last 3 frames. It's that 10 to fall. There's a 4th. Langer takes a re-rack. He's got 279 up there if he can go off the sheet.
She should be clear. Be really good.
High pocket. Gets them all to go. There's 5 in a row. And again, Cryer's got to keep on striking and hope for some help. Saw or heard something, was able to stop, get his composure back, start the process over. Got it a little out, but it recovered. Got that 7 out, and he's working on 4 in a row of his own. Gets his strike in the 9th. He's got 247 up there if he can punch out in the 10th. But Wagner still has a shot at 279. Gets that light hit to fall again. That makes 6 in a row. Gets that high flush pocket strike, and that's going to do it. High five and a handshake from John Cryer Jr. And Dave Wagner is going to be your champion of the 2022 Chippewa Valley Match Games. Hard-fought match. Both guys threw some great shots. As Cryer hits another strike. Boy, he'll remember those breaks in the 3rd and 4th for a while, I'm guessing, but Dave Wagner is taking the victory lap, so to speak, and winning for his 4th time. Knocks out that 10 for good measure. 279, he'll take home $1,500. And for the 4th time, Dave Wagner has won the Chippewa Valley Match Games. Round of applause from folks here watching. And he's won his 4 titles in the span of just 10 years. An impressive run of success for Dave. Here in Eau Claire. Some well wishes from Todd Savoy, Mike Wurz, and John Cryer Jr., the 2nd place finish. He'll take home $800. And that'll do it. Dave Wagner, your 2022 Chippewa Valley Match Games champion. We will be right back in just a moment. All right, everyone. We are back with 2022 Chippewa Valley Match Games champion Dave Langer. I forgot to take my mask off. I should
That's okay.
probably do that. But congratulations on
Thank you,
a
sir.
great tournament. Again, your 4th Chippewa Valley Match Games title in 10 years. That's got to
Correct.
sound sweet.
Correct. It's awesome. Ty, my good buddy Chad, he's got 4 in the last 10 years as well. So we went on a 7-year stretch where one of us won it. So
Yeah,
good to be back in there.
no doubt. Tell me how this tournament went for you. I mean, obviously, it's a grind to get through the 8 games of qualifying, then turn around 10 more match play, and not to mention the step ladder we just saw.
Yesterday, you just want to make the cut. Bowled well, missed one spare all day yesterday, didn't miss any today. So got off to a real good start today, had 279 the first game. So that always helps. Had a little trouble in the middle of the day when they transitioned, had a 160 and a 180 game in there. Battled back, needed the last 6 in the position round to actually, I was in at that point in 6th to get up to 2nd. So
Oh, wow.
the less matches you have to win, the easier it is usually. So that was nice to get back up to the 2nd seed. So
Sure. Yeah, a lot can happen in a short amount of time when it
Yes.
comes to position round, depending on where everybody's seated. You come in as the 2 seed. You knock off Will Matafee in the semifinal match there. And then on to take on John Pryor Jr., the defending champion. Wow, what a match you guys had.
Yeah, thanks. Bowling Will on 5 and 6. My game plan going into it was just anything above 200 was going to be good. The rack on lane 5, the right-handers have had trouble with all weekend. It's a little tight, so carry's a little questionable there, and left a 5-7 in there, but got to 2-0. That was the game plan there, but John bowled great all weekend. I knew 2-0, 220 wasn't going to cut it. I was fortunate he left an 8 and a 9 pin, and at that point I knew 247 was his number, and he was probably going to get there as good as he's throwing it. So got some light hits on 8 and buried him on 7. So
Yeah. It seemed like the half pocket hits, the light hits were really working well for you on both of those pairs.
Yes, yeah. It's always been a good hit for me here. Every now and then you might leave a 7-10 or I left a 5-7 on lane 6. It is what it is at that angle. But just trying to hit the pocket. Was fortunate that 7 and 8 had a good look, and they all went down.
Sure. What kind of significance does this tournament have for you folks in the Twin Cities, in Greater Minnesota? I had mentioned to Brent that for us here in the Chippewa Valley, I mean, this is the biggest scratch tournament around. But when you talk about, coming in from another place, how do you guys in Minnesota view this?
We kind of look forward to this on the calendar. We know it's the first weekend in January, with the exception of this year, with it being New Year's. And it's been a big tournament for quite a long time. I've been bowling it since 1992.
Okay.
Took a few years off in there. You can't make them all with weddings and work or whatever else you got going. But we look forward to it. It's a good tournament. You got a lot of the same guys. You get some Wisconsin guys. Starting to get some people from Iowa, even eastern Wisconsin. So a lot of good players. And anytime we get a chance to test ourselves against other good players, that's where we want to be. So
For sure.
Absolutely. It's a great tournament. They do a good job.
Yeah. Again, your 2022 Chippewa Valley Match Games champion, Dave Langer, taking $1,500 back to the great state of Minnesota. Congratulations.
Appreciate you guys doing this for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to get the word out there. Thank you for joining us, everyone. And we hope to do it again next year in 2023.
All right.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, sir.